bones will rattle, stairs will creak. Your outcome's looking pretty bleak. Thunder booms and lightning crashes, leaving boots filled with ashes. As we lay you down to rest, we read the pages of the Dead Man's Digest.
Hello and welcome to episode 9 of the Dead Man's Digest, and it has been far too long since we recorded. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Introduce us.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
If you insist. Since you're so urgent, it's so urgent that you are introduced, Nina.
Hello.
And Travis.
What up, people?
What's up?
Howdy.
Yeah, so how's everybody doing?
Good, and it's been far too long.
I know. Travis has been to Horror Nights about 12 more times since the last time we recorded, I think.
Yeah.
We were there one more time, sadly, and that was it. But the first thing we're going to talk about tonight is actually Howl-O-Scream.
Yay!
Yeah, we went there. It's been a couple of weekends, so we're all going to try to jog our memories and get this going again. But yeah, it was... I've been to Howl-O-Scream a few times. Nina, you've been a couple of times.
Yep.
And this was your first time coming here, right, Travis?
Yep, first time.
Yeah, so we should have some varied opinions on the different experiences we had, I guess. But we did do the Fright Feast.
We did.
Which
we went on a Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday. I always recommend the Fright Feast on the show. Anytime we talked about it on the UUO podcast before, I've always said, do the Fright Feast. It makes more sense to me than the Express. Because as you guys saw, we got through all the houses in the first 2 hours, right?
Yeah, and the Fright Feast, it was weird because it was differently priced for each of us. Like, Travis paid a little bit more than we did when he bought it online, but it was within $20 to $30.
Yeah,
and
we're pass holders, that's why it was cheaper for us.
Oh, that's why, okay,
yeah.
I see. So then basically what we do, what time did we have to check in? 6 o'clock?
6 o'clock,
Yep,
yeah.
we checked it at 6 o'clock. They had a, a buffet going on, unlimited drinks, food. You took your seat. You had to watch the show, The Fiends.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
They forced you to watch that. And then when they would release you...
Well, wait, let's talk about Fiends
I want to
really
see what
quick.
it's about. What Fright Feast is all about.
They release you half hour ahead of time before the actual... Everybody else gets into the park.
Exactly. And then, so you get an hour and a half of Express.
No, 2 hours, technically, because that first half hour...
That's true, yeah.
And
So
then
technically
another
2
hour and a
hours
half.
of Express where you can kind of knock out everything you want to get out. But yeah, worth it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, first, I guess let's start at the top. The food is actually really good, I think. Decent,
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah, I was surprised too. Yeah, they had a mix of pretty much everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
From chicken nuggets to fish to, everything.
Yeah, we all
Piled it
chicken
on.
nuggets.
Loaded it up.
Yeah, we just like everything.
Yeah,
That mac and cheese was on point.
Oh, I know.
You can always judge a theme park by their mac and cheese, and
Right?
Busch Gardens does it right. Yeah, that's really good. The show, however,
It's always painful. This is the second time I've ever seen the show, but I'm sorry. It is just painful. The jokes are just not funny.
yeah,
And they were just towards
just
this year a lot of
pee-pee jokes, let's call them.
adult themed jokes that were just too much. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Aimed towards the male genitalia, and it was just not funny, and it was awkward.
They're definitely gearing it towards like 14-year-old males. I'm pretty sure, right?
I don't know.
That seems to be the target demographic.
That's kind of creepy if it is true.
Ew, kind of cringy. But I think they're trying to be the only thing you can kind of relate this to would be Bill and Ted, because they like to like
you can't even compare.
Yeah, they
Bill
can't.
and Ted.
I think that's what they're trying to do, but it's not even close. Because they had the what happened this year, the Pokemon and the twerking jokes and ha ha ha, but it's just not executed well.
Yeah,
just not well. But I feel like it's a tradition kind of thing that even though everyone knows it's not good, a lot of people that are just diehard fans of it. That's why it keeps coming back. It's like being excited. Oh, you fiends and the nurses have to be there. It's like a tradition kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a joke that won't go away.
Yep.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, if you're a woman going there, I guess, or you're uncomfortable with all the nurses, and if you're a guy going there, you're uncomfortable
This
with all
is
the
2016.
6-pack dancers. Okay, whatever.
6-pack.
Seriously, there
Is that what they're
are
called?
male table dancers.
On the table,
Yes.
like glistening in their sweat.
I'd
You're
rather
like, what?
actually have an actual 6-pack dancing on the table.
But like,
Yeah, it's just it's a pretty terrible.
so we
show.
always what we do. I mean, last year and this year we sat towards the back because there's a bar there. It's closest to the door. It's closest to the bathroom. And as soon as they say leave, we're out.
Yep. And of course, the one place to go is the one house that doesn't accept express, and that's one we ran to. It was a lot closer in previous years.
Yeah.
This year they've moved it to the front of the park where the Clydesdales used to be.
By Cheetah Hunt.
Yeah, by Cheetah Hunt, and that is Zombie Containment Unit 15. The official.
I'm sorry, man. That
Yeah.
freaking house sucked.
It did this year.
It did. It was much more effective and a lot more fun last year. I don't know what the difference is that made it so good.
2 years ago.
Well, 2 years ago, yeah.
I just don't understand the point of it. Like, it's not like they don't even barely come at you. A lot of them are hidden behind chain link fences. Like, why would I be worried about shooting them behind a chain link fence?
Exactly.
They're nowhere near me.
And I felt so guilty because we were like pumping this one up for you, and we got there. I remember when we went through it 2 years ago, they weren't behind the fences. They
Yeah.
weren't behind these wooden bars. It was so frustrating, like, oh, coming at you. But they couldn't get close to us. It was
Yeah.
kind of lame.
Yeah, 2 years ago when we went, it was in where Santa's village is during Christmas, which is kind of funny. Where like the meet and greet with Santa is, and yeah, they did not have barriers between like I would say 75%, maybe 25% were back someplace back behind where they couldn't actually
And you
get
felt
to
like
you.
they were chasing you, like behind you.
Yeah, but I remember it clearly, like going down a corridor with like 3 of them in the corridor with you.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
that turned into like the scare actors were getting hurt from people like trying to bash through them and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know, but people
Definitely
always got
wasn't
to
like-
ruin it.
Definitely wasn't like that this year. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
And on top of that, it was an extra bummer for me because my gun didn't work at all.
Yeah.
So I just got to walk behind you guys slowly.
Well, I felt like even the guns that did work still didn't work very well.
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
know.
yeah, they didn't really describe like very well to you guys like the when the chest plate is flashing white, like really bright. That means you got them.
I
and
thought it
they're,
was
like,
the opposite.
And they're supposed to freeze there and like act like they're getting shocked for 3 seconds. But ours, I think most of them just kept on coming.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a letdown compared to previous years. But luckily that wasn't a trend as we went on,
Yeah.
because I don't remember exactly what order we did the rest of them in. I think the next one was it Unearthed that we went into?
I think it was Deadwater Bayou.
Deathwater Bayou. Yeah.
That one.
Escape the depths of the bayou before you fall victim to the voodoo queen spell. Bobby Boucher.
Yeah, I really like this house, man.
Yeah.
It was it's always cool when you get like the whole kind of Bayou Louisiana voodoo thing, and it was a really, I don't know, like I like their houses a lot because, like I said, I'm more of a claustrophobic, and I feel like a lot of their houses are more claustrophobic, kind of dark houses that you kind of have to find your way through. It's not so obvious as to where to go because everything kind
Very
of
true.
looks, very similar. So it's more of dark cavernous kind of house. So
Oh, okay.
Exactly. That's kind of like in this year at Halloween Horror Nights with Tomb of the Ancients. I love that claustrophobic feel. So with Water Bayou, it was just the entire house felt like you were in a swampy, enclosed space, and they were scaring you from the beginning. I mean, even before you were inside the house, there was that guy. How tall was that guy?
About 14 feet tall, I'll say.
You're going to meet Mama Bayou, or whatever she was saying.
Oh yeah, he's such a good, he was a good improvisational actor.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, he did a really good job of just like coming up with stuff on the fly as you walked by him, which was really cool. I like that. That's that personal interaction that I'm always talking about with Howl-O-Scream that you don't get at Horror Nights. They're all running off of audio cues at Horror Nights. You don't get that same kind of personality, and it's not the scare actor's fault
yeah,
at
it's
all.
not their fault.
It's the fact that they have to use those, predetermined sounds every time they jump out.
yeah,
The thing that I remember the most out of the entire Horror Nights was in this house. Do you
mean
not?
Howl-O-Scream?
I mean, sorry. Howl-O-Scream was at the end. Do you not remember at the end of the house, the guy, he was trying to sell us stuff. He was like a voodoo salesman. And then we come outside. He's like, hey, you guys, come here. Can I interest you in us? And then he's like magic on his cart there.
And for some reason, there wasn't anybody behind us for a while. So we actually got to sit there and interact with them for a while, which was really cool.
One of my favorite parts of the whole night.
I was at the guy asked if he had any drinks.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's like, I got no drinks, man.
He's like, yep, you can get those right outside.
Okay, bye.
But the other thing that was really cool is when you first walk in, the voodoo queen levitating in the chair, with the crystal ball next to her, and again that personal interaction. She's talking to everybody individually as you go through, which is so cool to me. But yeah, this has been a really solid house in years past, and it was Travis's first introduction to the bungee jumpers.
Oh, God.
Yes.
Those things scare the crap out of you.
Which they used in force this year, but it's just because they are so cool.
Yeah, I think it was almost every single house, wasn't it?
Just about, yeah. If not everyone, yeah. And even not in the houses, just in random parts of the park where you're not even expecting it. Not a scare zone, nothing. You're just in the middle of the park in a dark area, and then they just fly out of the side out of nowhere.
Hello!
It's just so cool.
Yeah, it's really, really crazy. And they have like a sound effect cue that comes out too. It's scary when it comes at you. And I think it's got like a shot of light too, right?
Yeah.
That kind of blinds you and they pop out at you. I want to know how, for one, they judge how far to shoot them out and how they reset those. I wonder if they have somebody back there with them that resets it, because those things probably have to be reset, right? I
have no idea how it actually works.
I'd be surprised.
We walked by and I saw one like jump back, and they just landed right back on the same platform they came from. But there's something that's got to launch them out, right?
Yeah, it has to be.
That can't just be a jump, or maybe it is. I don't know.
I'd be surprised if they said they've never hit anyone.
Maybe they can reset themselves, but yeah, I would think that they'd probably. I mean, you always have those, in anything where you're gonna get. Touched by something or on accident or whatnot. So I'm sure they've hit people with those before.
Yeah. All right, let's dial it back just 1 inch. There we go.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just a really cool thing that they do, and just overall the house, the theming, the design of the place. Like, I didn't see anything in Deathwater Bayou specifically out of all of them. I couldn't see any of those seams, Like, as you're going through, I don't see where the house breaks. Like Universal, you look up and you see the stage lights, and you see the fact that you're in a sound stage. There was nothing like that.
You
for
forget.
me. Yeah, much like Tomb of the Ancients, it's a full immersive, like 360-degree thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they put more roofs on their houses or ceilings than Horror Nights does.
Yeah, I think it makes a big difference, especially in a few of the other houses we'll talk about soon. But it makes a big difference in the immersion of it all,
and that claustrophobic nature that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah,
too.
definitely. And also you're used to at Universal and those kind of places. I'm guessing 90% of the people that are going through are just looking forward or looking around for scares and don't even see the fact that there's no ceiling on the places. But for people that have been going for a while, I think it makes a big difference.
Mm-hmm. To the nerds like
definitely.
us.
Yeah. We'll just go to the next one here on the list, even though I don't think it was our next one. It was Zombie Mortuary. Led by their queen, the zombies that infest this small-town funeral home feed on the fresh flesh and brains of mortuary mourners to satisfy their insatiable hunger. My question is, why did anybody go back after the first wave? They're just hanging out in a mortuary. Yeah, people just keep coming in. Like, duh, what's happening here? No one ever comes out, but oh well.
You're allowed to tell everyone what happened to me 2 years ago.
2 years ago, Nina had a moment in this house.
This house
practically ran out crying.
Made me cry. No, I actually cried. This one is just full of death. I don't know. You go through a room where people are crying over their loved ones. You go through a room where there's actually a viewing going on and people are crying hysterically, and you see a dead body and it actually moves and it freaks you out. Mm-hmm. You go to an area where they're cremating a guy alive and he's help me. You go to a room like a medical examiner room with the wall of bodies.
Yeah.
I don't know. 2 years ago, it was something I'd never experienced before.
Yeah.
So I knew what to expect.
And the last room has changed since the last 2 years. That was the really intense room, I think, for you. And that was the fact that you were at the bottom of a grave, essentially, looking up
6
and
feet.
seeing your mourners.
You can actually
like,
see
mourning
people
you.
through the. It was like dirt, like a dirt tunnel, and you look up and they're looking down. But
That,
still,
that
this,
didn't seem to be there this year. Maybe a little bit of the dirt and stuff, but
I was gonna say I felt like I missed that part. But
yeah,
you're
that's
saying
what
now
I'm
that it
saying.
wasn't here.
Yeah, 2 years ago it was there, and I think that was a really
maybe I wasn't the only
intense,
crybaby.
impactful ending there. I actually
Maybe they thought it was too intense. So
yeah.
kind of
It was intense. I really liked it though, because I was like, it was a perspective that has never been put into a house for me, essentially. But
Like your dad.
yeah.
So would they just have like scare actors above you looking down at you, or were
Well,
they like
they were
mannequins?
mainly like mannequins. I think they had
think
like
they're
one or two
mannequins.
actual like actors that were up there, but for the most part, there was like,
dressed
a
in
bunch
all
of,
black and stuff?
yeah, and like a woman with a veil over her
Yeah.
face, that kind of thing. So
It's like you are just put 6 feet under in your casket, and you're looking up at everyone.
and you're seeing the dirt and like all the other caskets like shoved into the walls around you.
Or, like people saying goodbye
Yep.
to you. It's so.
They've been
Ooh.
buried, next to you.
But you
and-
still get that vibe this year too.
Yeah, I mean
It's-
it has that, and then it's like just like that funeral home music that's playing through the whole thing.
Too real. Hashtag too real.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
you go under the coffin. That part was kind of
Yes.
creepy.
Yep.
If you weren't there, I don't know if I would have been able to know to go that way. To be honest with you, it's kind of a weird path, but
Yeah, if you're not in a conga line like we weren't at the time, because if you do the Fright Feast, you'll find out that like all the houses are completely empty when you're going through them.
Mm-hmm.
So you're basically getting a private walkthrough of it.
yeah,
The only way we knew to go under the casket was from the previous years when we'd done it before. Hesitantly. All that.
yeah, right, exactly. But this one almost has kind of especially going through like the funeral parlor, almost had like that same vibe as 25 years was when you're going through the caretakers area with like the dead flowers and weird
Yeah.
stuff around you.
Yeah,
Your
and then the
casket and
mourners,
Yeah.
like just sitting there in the chairs, and of course they do that thing where there are a bunch of dummies, but there are a couple of real people mixed in.
Yeah, I think it even had the same smell as the 25 years house last
Oh,
year. That kind
yes.
of dirt, earthy smell.
Yep, and yeah, in that house in particular, that's the one where I got the lady that was sitting there with the dummies, like one of the mourners, jumped up and yelled in my face, and she's
Yeah.
like, "What are you doing here?" Like we had literally interrupted a funeral, and we're just walking through the middle between the casket.
Was that the
and
one that
mourner.
was like off to the left, like in a wheelchair or something?
Oh no, she was like to the right in the gallery of people. Like,
Oh,
she was
okay.
like sitting there with the rest of the people, but she like jumped up and yelled at me for being at the funeral. I'm like, sorry, I didn't know.
We're paying our respects.
I didn't know.
But yeah, that was another really solid house. I think that is, of course, like we said, a returning house, but which is something Howl-O-Scream does a lot. They'll have a lot of returning houses and then just a couple of new ones.
Has that been there for a few years?
Yeah. Well, like I said, we went 2 years ago and it was there. I think that was the second year that it was there.
Yeah, because I remember seeing people talking about how it's been there for a little while and it may
Same
be
place.
time to retire it or something.
It'll
so.
I'm guessing it'll probably be that and Circus of Superstition, which we'll talk about next. Kind of a letdown compared to previous years, but yeah, it's called Circus of Superstition: The Last Laugh.
The
So,
3D house.
yeah, the 3D house, and it says it'll take more than luck to survive the Circus of Superstition: The Last Laugh.
Another one we talked up so much.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I didn't really care for this house too much either. The beginning was really weird. It was like you're walking through like a minute of just sheets and weird stuff. It's like, I don't know.
It's
I
like
guess
they
they're-
wanted to have the entrance on the other side, and they're like, well, you know what? We'll just do this instead.
Yeah, I didn't get it, man. It's just like you were just walking for a while and I don't know.
Yeah.
And one guy in that bodysuit in the same stripe pattern of the sheets. And
Yeah.
you're like, oh, okay, excuse me.
I mean, they have some effective techniques that they were doing there, but it just seemed like they didn't have the actors. Like, they didn't have enough actors at the time that we went through in particular. Because I think that the actors really have to make that house, because, of course, it's a 3D house, so it's pretty flat and bare bones.
Yeah.
The theme around this one, of course, is superstition. So you go through things like walking under ladders and broken glass and broken mirrors, not glass.
The black cat.
Black cat, yeah. All
I did
these-
like the effect. I did like the effects that they did with the mirrors, though, with in the ladders and stuff. Where it looked like there was more ladders in there than there were, or they ended abruptly, or they were. It was a cool effect.
Yeah, they do some really good visual tricks there at Howl-O-Scream. And this has been a showcase house for them in previous years. There's another really cool effect that they do in one room where they've got a bunch of portraits all over the wall. And if there were enough scare actors, this is what's supposed to happen, is there's a big like camera flash. So it blinds you for a second. And then when your vision comes back, all the boo doors basically have dropped. And there's a bunch of real life acting clowns in the place of the portraits. And they're all done up exactly like the portraits, and then they jump out at you. They like give you a second for your eyes to adjust, and then jump out. Mm-hmm. It was a super effective room in the past. When we went through this year, the light flashed and everything, but then nothing happened. So I don't know if it was just that, or just overall it was just a little bit more underwhelming than it was before. But we had a couple of those jumpers again, which is really effective in 3D. I'm saying they're probably the highlight of the house this year.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and then the clown, big clown face at the end, that was still pretty good, I think.
Spoopy.
Yeah.
Like 5 foot tall clown face.
Yeah. And that one, that's the second time it's bumped into me pretty good, so whoever's running that thing doesn't care.
Why do you always get hit by things?
I don't know. I guess I just have one of
Big
those
guy,
faces.
I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, I'd say that's probably that and Zombie Containment Unit were the only like stinkers of the groups, and they weren't. I wouldn't say they were horrible. They're just definitely not great.
Bottom of the list.
Bottom of the list for sure. Next one we'll talk
Definitely
about.
not repeats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next one we'll talk about is Unearthed, and this was the second.
Yeah.
Yeah, second year, because they themed this originally around the construction of.
Excuse me.
Hang on, jeez.
I have no idea what that was.
You're moving around like crazy, so. You good?
I'm good.
Okay. It was based around the construction of Cobra's Curse.
Mm-hmm.
That they had been digging around Cobra's Curse and they had found something. A centuries-old house has been unearthed, unleashing a vengeful demon seeking revenge. So they dug down and found that whole house.
Ooh.
You know that
Is
happens.
that-
You just bury a house.
Is that what they used for this year, or they used that for last year as well?
What, the theme?
Yeah.
No, well, I mean, the theme was the unearthed part.
But the Cobra's Curse part.
That was
where
last year. That's why they came up with the house in the first place.
Oh,
And
I
that
I didn't have a clue that it had anything to do with Cobra's Curse. That's actually a lot cooler now.
Well, yeah, because they were like they themed the story around like they were digging around the park and found this, but it was I believe it was in that location that year as well. Like we said, unfortunately we didn't make it there last year because we were doing Halloween Horror Nights like crazy. But I believe that it was in that same area as well, which led to the storyline. So,
But what makes this house so creepy is a queue. It's in the abandoned. What ride is that?
Quasi.
Quasi. Mm-hmm. So you actually, like, right at the entrance of the house, you're walking through where used to be the loading area with no car, no machines, no nothing. It's just eerie.
yeah, the theming in this one was really cool. I'd say I'm on the verge of saying it was almost as good as, if not possibly better, Texas Chainsaw Massacre house than Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
What?
It's got that feel, definitely.
It did. Like a lot of bones.
Dirt.
Sculptures made of bones and animal
Feathers.
parts.
I think they play the exact same chicken clucks in there, too. The same sound cue.
Yeah. Well, speaking of doing the same things as Horror Nights, Travis pointed out that the smells were very similar.
Yeah, they definitely were.
They called up the place and they said, okay, we want everything that Horror Nights bought
Last year.
Hook it up.
And also, there was something else that was similar to another haunt. You guys remember that?
Ah, yes.
What?
A giant hydraulic beast machine.
Yeah, the same one Shallow Grave has.
I must have closed my eyes and ran for my life.
No, in
What? We pointed it out.
Yeah, remember in front of the Shallow Grave they have that huge hydraulic
Oh, that guy.
monster?
Yes.
Yeah, and he does the same thing, and they had the same exact figure at Howl-O-Scream. Where? Which house was that?
I think it was unearthed in the queue.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was unearthed. It's kind of sitting down in the plant area where you got that like wraparound.
Oh yeah,
line.
yeah. So yeah,
But
that
how
was kind of
cool
cool.
is
That
the
was
beginning
funny.
of this house, especially with the... It looked like you were going through dirt, like a dirt cave. Like it felt like a permanent queue structure. It's something that you don't see normally in houses like this. It looked like a permanent structure. It wasn't something that just sprouted up and it's just nails and screws. It could look like cement and formed. I don't know. It was this is top 2 of my this year. Unearthed. I don't even know how to describe it. You're going through a house. It's spooky. There's dirt.
It's very, very, very dark.
But
that's
I
for
really
sure.
liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really dark.
That was a dark one.
A lot of
And is
clever
that the one-
scares.
Is that the one? Also, that's the one that they take your picture in, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that was.
Which no other. I thought that was really, really cool. No other haunt does that, where they take a picture of you getting the crap scared out of you.
Yeah. I've only seen one other one, and it's really popular. Like, it's a thing that goes around every year around Halloween, like on Facebook and stuff. And it's a haunted house where you see everybody just looking totally terrified. And what that was is they rigged up a truck to look like it was basically breaking through the wall, and they would run one of those train horns through and blast the lights on at the same time, and then take
And
the
that's
picture.
the flash.
So this was that same kind of deal. They took your picture as you went through, which was funny to see as you're walking out. I'm sure they got a lot of people buying those.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Good
but
idea.
it didn't really work out too well for our group. Like, I was a little bit ahead and you guys were a little bit behind, so there wasn't a whole lot going on in our photo. But
Yeah, I wonder how they do that. If it's just like a trigger pad, or if it's like
I'm
like a
guessing.
sensor or like a laser or something.
we're a very bored employee.
Yeah, right.
I don't make
Just
enough for
sitting up there
this.
in the rafters, then
Only 2 houses
only
left.
2 houses left to talk about. We'll go with the black spot first. We're saving the best
The
for
black
last,
spot.
in my opinion. What an infamous pirate has you marked for death, and he has you right where he wants you.
Yar.
In the black spot, apparently.
Ew.
Yeah, I heard a lot of offhand jokes about what the black spot may be in the queue as we're walking up.
The brown spot.
There's the brown spot. There's yeah. Anyways, let's not get too far into that.
This was a new house.
It was one of the new ones, one of the 2 new houses, we should say. I gotta say, I don't remember a ton of this one. I know a part of it was outside, which was really cool.
A lot of scare actors, a lot of pirates, and a lot of gold.
Yeah.
It's my gold!
That's my goal.
Yeah, out of all the houses, this is, for some reason, it's the one I think I remember at least, but I don't remember having a bad time in there. I thought it was cool. And I do remember, like, there's a portion where you actually walk out and you are outside completely, which is cool. It's not something you see normally. I believe that spot where you were outside was where they had the Edgar Allan Poe house previously, in the previous year. So, like, that was, like, the entrance to a queue in a previous year, and in this house, it was, like, in the middle of the house. But yeah, it was a pirate-themed house, and that's all I remember. Unless
Me
you guys
too.
got anything.
That's about all I remember too. I think it was pretty short, right?
Yeah,
I don't
think,
remember it being a very long house.
Yeah, and if I recall correctly, that was another one where they had like a photo op out when you got out of the house. They had like a big stand up there, and they had some pirates there you could take a picture
the
with.
ladies, the pirate ladies.
Yeah. Which they
Didn't
had
they have-
a couple of throughout the park. They had like, take your picture with girls.
No.
And like one really awkward looking guy that like, he's just there in case girls want pictures.
Yeah. Didn't they have a spieler out there in front of that house too?
I do believe so. Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
they
that
did.
older guy.
Big
yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me tell you a story. Okay.
He probably had
Big-
more fun than anybody just doing that all night.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, another good house, and I mean that kind of thing. Those spielers and things like that is something that I wish they did at Horror Nights. You know,
I know.
it just like it immerses you that much more, and it's entertaining. You know, it's
personal.
fun, and it's a person that if the line gets long, he can just start strolling up and down the line, talking to people. You know, keeping it entertaining. I think so.
Well, they were doing that for Purge, but that was few and far between nights where he would actually be out there. It seemed like it was very rare to see him out there, but when you did, it was cool.
Yeah.
So I definitely agree on the Spieler thing. They need to get on that.
Yeah, and I don't know if you like if this is the same feeling you get, even though I know they're both like corporations and everything, but like do you get the feeling that like Universal is the more like professional corporate run thing, and Howl-O-Scream is like, you know, guys, have fun. You know?
It's like the high school got together and we're all having a
exactly
Yeah.
Like that's what it feels like to me. Like you've got like a set way of doing things at Horror Nights, and this is the way it's going to go, and it's going to go this way.
which we're not mad at.
Yeah, I mean, we still enjoy it, and it leads to like some amazing theming sets, and I think it lets the creative director have his like vision completely understood throughout. You know, he gets to set up the sound cues. He knows when you're going to jump out. You know, he can set when you loop and when you don't, and you know, when you have your own trigger to set.
But
things off.
I mean that makes sense though, because all their houses are original. You know, it kind of seems like that with Universal, when they have the original houses, they have a little bit more leeway. It's just when they get to those IP type houses where they kind of have to walk that line a little bit, you know.
True.
Gotta keep them happy.
So.
Yeah, but I just like I like when like Howl-O-Scream just lets their actors have fun and just like, you know, do what you want to do. If you want to talk to somebody in the house, go ahead. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And we, you know, if you want to like get in front of them and stop them, like the guy, the zombie mortuary guy did, not zombie mortuary, the first house room,
Deathwater Bayou.
Deathwater Bayou. If you want to, the guy wants to jump out in front of you and keep you there and talk to you for a while, they're allowed to, and that's awesome. I think. So yeah, let's move on to the last house, and I think everybody's
Definitely not
favorite, hands
least.
down, right?
MVP.
And this is Motel Hell. Nightmares become reality.
Wait, no, Motel Shelburne.
Yeah.
No, Motel Hell.
Nightmares become reality at this deserted motel once you realize why it's conveniently vacant.
I love this house.
It was so good. You know, talk about theming, like out just at the front door.
Just at
is
the
so
front.
awesome. And they have a little newsreel like video playing as you're in the queue, getting close to the house, and basically what it's saying is that they keep trying to demolish this hotel, and everybody that tries to demolish it dies.
Yeah.
So that's why it's still standing. And right out front, you get that with a construction worker, and they're just freaking out, ears bleeding. Yeah.
And it looks like you're at a motel. Like, it has the doors, the little air conditioning vents, the glass to all the rooms. It has a broken down car.
Yeah.
And then you turn down the corridor, and then you just basically go through the motel. You go through the front in the lobby. Mm-hmm. It's just, every room had, you know, like, go crazy.
Exactly.
Just go
and,
crazy.
Like, each room had its own like
Theme. Yes.
which was cool.
Yeah, I like the 40s, 50s kind of theming, you know, with the shag carpet when you're going through the room, and it kind of feels like you're kind of stuck in an episode of The Twilight Zone or something.
Yeah, we'll give him a shout out. We said, as we were walking through, I'm like, Adam the Woo would love this place.
Yes.
It was like that kind of like roadside ephemera, like 1950s style that is just so cool.
That rich room.
Yeah, I love that style too, so it was really cool to see. It's like if Cabana Bay went fully evil.
And some effect that they did so well was when they mimicked that you were outside on the pool. You were actually still inside, and they had that light effect, like the pool reflection was all over the walls. And then the actress, she's like, "You're just gonna leave him there?" And he was upside down, drowning, and he's dead in the pool. You're just gonna leave him there? Like,
I don't know if you heard the people behind us go, "Why don't you help him?" And she's like, "I can't swim."
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, it felt like you were at a crappy hotel in Daytona Beach on spring break or something.
Yep.
What about the B room?
Yeah, the B room. I think it was.
There was
like,
a
definitely
lady
a highlight.
stuck in the bed, covered in honey, and then on the top right there was a lady coming through honeycombs. And then the beekeeper, he would come out, and I don't know what it was. I don't know.
It was like a stretch wall, right, where they can like stretch themselves.
It was like
forward,
foam,
right? Like they were stuck in honey.
Yeah, like the honeycomb was like all stretchy. It was very cool. And then another room that was the highlight for me is I'll call it the nose light room. And I think I like pointed that out to you, Travis, when we were walking through. Is they had a room with full of like those white blank masks and dirt, and they had lights behind it, and I was like, oh, this room is like at least 25% lit by nose light, because it had like holes in the nose, and you could see the beams of light shooting out of them.
Mixed with the kind of fog that they had in there.
Yeah.
Looked pretty cool. Yeah.
But that was such a cool, like, surreal. That was like a Salvador Dali style room for me. Like, it was just
They almost look like Jabberwocky masks. Didn't
yeah,
they?
Oh, yeah.
it's those
like
blank masks. I think of Joey
white
Jordison from Slipknot, because that was like his style to wear one of those. But just like those completely blank craft masks that you can buy from like Michaels, and there was just
creepy,
hundreds of them all over the wall. And then like they had this big dirt pile in the middle of the place that had just 100 more of them stuck in there, and then just those beams of light throughout the house, and then just a couple of scare actors wearing the masks as well.
So I wonder what that's supposed to represent. You think that's supposed to be like the souls or spirits or whatever bodies that
Maybe.
were
That'd be cool.
collected throughout?
I don't know if they think that far at Howl-O-Scream, actually.
Like, what's
They just
the
threw
like,
some
This
masks.
is creepy mask room.
I just gave them a story. They can
Yeah,
go
there
with
you go. The souls.
all the dead souls
Yeah, all the dead souls that got stuck there.
perished.
all the workers?
So yeah,
Just every room was unique.
and every time I see somebody talk about Howl-O-Scream, they're raving about this house, and it's legit. It's at Halloween Horror Nights original level, or maybe a little bit higher than in recent years, in my opinion.
Because they had bungee guys there, too.
Yeah,
Yeah, because you actually felt like you were in an old, abandoned, dilapidated, stinky, musty hotel from like the 40s or 50s, and there weren't, like, everything just flowed perfectly. Like, there were no hard cuts in there or anything. It was
No
just like,
boring hallways.
felt like you were walking through, like, a tour of an old, haunted, creepy hotel or motel.
yeah. Was that was also the one, right? Or was that another house that had all the chainsaws in the walls?
I think it was
I
this
think
one.
Yeah,
think
it was
it was
this
that
one.
one.
Yeah, as you walk through one of the hallways, there was just this one hallway that was like had chainsaws going off like crazy all over the place, like 16 separate chainsaw sounds.
Yup.
And then all like they were like jammed into the walls everywhere, which was just really cool visual. Like,
And they had people coming from scare actors.
Yeah,
coming
with
from the top.
chainsaws.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
chainsaws.
it
And
was
I like
just so surreal.
in the hallway, because then in the middle of the house, you were back outside walking through the hallways, and you can see the doors of the the rooms, just like you're walking through. Oh God! I just could clap, 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 clap.
Yeah. So overall, I think it's a really solid lineup. Like I said, there's a couple that were like, but they still weren't bad. They were worth a walkthrough, at least I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, that's something for everybody. Maybe somebody else would like those. They just didn't work for us. So.
Yeah. Overall, Howl-O-Scream this year was fantastic. The thing I always enjoy about Howl-O-Scream is you've got the rides. You've got the coasters. You've got the, just... It's a different kind of environment than Horror Nights.
And what's funny is a lot of the times the lines for the coasters are longer than the houses.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happens. I guess people just go through once and then they're like, all right, we want to go ride all the rides at night, it's worth it to ride those coasters at night. It's really cool.
And I really like the DJs.
Yeah, Nina danced at every DJ.
I got very sweaty. I met my step quota just in the dance. So
and roaming scare actors, we actually didn't ride the zombie bumper cars. I can't believe we didn't do that. By the time we realized that we didn't, we were too far. Like, being at one side of Busch Gardens and having to go to the other side is like, no. It is a very big park.
It's like a mile walk.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a bummer that Travis didn't get to do it, but
we should have.
But that's a lot of fun. Just regular bumper cars, but just 3 or 4 zombies in some of the cars coming after you.
It's just meant to be silly.
It was
but fun.
very entertaining, and I would say the scare actors outside of that were some of the most impressive scare actors I've seen. They were zombies, which is surprising for me because I thought I was just done with zombies completely, but they did a really good job acting and that kind of thing. And they had some a girl there who was like a contortionist.
Yeah.
That was like bending her head backwards, like
nope.
yeah, looking at you like with her head twisted all the way around.
She was doing the Reagan.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we got a job for you in Orlando.
Yeah, there were a few other scare actors. The scare zones. I remember they had a werewolf scare zone That's what just came to my mind again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't there?
Yeah. What?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
You don't remember that? All those guys they kind of had like 4 or 5 different boxes set up, and some of them would be popping out of the box.
Yes.
The big gargoyle werewolves on top.
Yeah. That was one scary zone, and they had another one like apocalyptic kind of scare zone.
That's the one I liked a lot.
Which is where they had the sliders this year.
Oh, so cool.
Those are the guys they wear like metal plates on their legs, so they can slide on the ground and sparks fly up, and they like either slide up right to you or right past you, like right in front of your feet, and it'll definitely make you jump no matter what. You can't get past that, even if you're sitting there watching them do it and start like they're just running straight at you.
It's loud as hell.
Yeah, and I mean, if they're the same guys, they've been doing it for years and years. Because there was a guy I actually went to high school with, I was in drama class with, that started the sliders at Howl-O-Scream. Because that's one cool thing that Howl-O-Scream lets you do is, they let their scare actors do, I will say, is if you come up with a good idea, they will actually use it. As opposed to, something like Horror Nights, that has to be approved through many different channels before you're able to do something. Howl-O-Scream, they're like, you come up with an idea and it's solid, go for it. And that's the idea they came up with, and it is super effective, and they've been doing it for like 10 years afterwards.
Wow.
So, just really cool there. The other roaming hordes I'm trying to think of, what did they have? I think they had a few more sliders just throughout the park. They had a lot of people dressed up like plants in ghillie suits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those things will get you, man.
Yeah, because the Busch Gardens has so much foliage, and they keep the park so dark at night, there's no way to tell.
Nope.
You can sit there and try to look as hard as you can, and there's no way to tell exactly. So that they're always very effective with those.
Shaker cans.
Yeah. a lot of shaker cans.
I think that the theme this year you see on all the billboards and the commercials with the puppets. So we missed the puppet scare actors. I think they were at the general entrance.
Yeah, well, we saw them on the way out.
Yeah, we saw them on the way out.
Yeah, because they were at the main entrance, and when you go to the Fright Feast, you get like a little side entrance to go through.
BIP.
Yeah,
No.
but yeah, this year, I mean, if you go, I know there's only a couple of weekends left, but if you go, make sure if you didn't go out the front when you came in, I guess you have to on the way out, but go out there and check those guys out, because it's like a whole nother scare zone in front of the park that we only got to see briefly as we walked through because we were tired.
Yeah, those guys were awesome out there, man.
Yeah.
They were running at everybody.
Yeah, and these like huge suits, but they like charge at you really quick. Like they like juke and like make the whole suit rattle, and it's like it's a really effective scare. It gets you, especially when you're not expecting it outside of the park. But yeah, overall, I'd say this is another really solid year for them. While they don't have, a big overall theme, I think that it's kind of like Horror Nights this year, because the Chance theme is so loose. It just seems like, everything is very separate.
Disjointed.
Yeah, but I mean, at least they had Chance there. I mean, those little dummy guys, like, they weren't in the house or anything.
They were kept
like that one main Gene Simmons looking dummy or whatever the hell.
Yeah, we didn't see him at all.
If you want to be technical, he wasn't even in the park.
Yeah,
he was outside.
Yeah, and all he was just on the big standee basically as you walk through. So, they have a little bit of a problem with that. Like, I mean, they typically try to do an icon. They have in previous years.
Well, they had the Unearthed girl last year, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
wasn't she like their icon?
Yeah, and then they've had a previous year where they like tried to go with like the pop punk. There was like a metal girl, like a emo goth kind of girl that had like a house, and the house was all themed like that way too. It was I didn't know that either, but I heard about it. Yeah, they do a lot of things like that. They try to come up with their own characters and do their things, and I think for the most part it's effective. But I think what really boils down to is the scare actors, and you can tell that they have a passion for what they do there, and just letting them be free and do what they want to turns out to be really effective for the event.
Always have such a good time there.
Yeah, so definitely recommend Howl-O-Scream every year. Real quick, we'll talk about too. Nina and I had the opportunity to go through the repository.
So yeah, let's get in our car, drive an hour and a half back to Orlando.
Yeah, which was the next night actually after we went to Howl-O-Scream, so it works.
I was so scared, y'all. I was so scared.
And there really wasn't a need for it, to be honest. Not
so
the scariest
they take
thing
you to
ever.
you check in by Blue Man Group, take you in this cool little room. You have to sign a waiver. They freak you out. They have this video that I couldn't even listen to because I was so scared because the lady was telling us how you're going to get touched. Don't be afraid. They have, if you're so scared, put your hands up in the air. We'll immediately, show you the exit. Everything will be called off. Mm-hmm. So I was just so scared. I mean, I got to be honest. So yeah, when they checked us in, we signed our waivers. So we were broken off into groups of, just happened to be our group was 4. I think they can do up to 6.
No, it's 4.
It's always 4? Okay,
it's up to 4.
Up to 4. So groups of 4, it was us 2, and then just because it was
Just warning from here real quick, spoilers abound. Okay,
spoiler. It was a dad and a son. I guess he had a sign for him. It was under 18.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And they had no idea what was happening. They're like, as soon as they sat down, they're like, so what's this about?
Yeah, where are we?
It's like, you paid money for this, right? Okay.
Like a lot of money.
Like,
where am I?
Like over $50.
Exactly.
The dad was more scared than I was. And we looked at each other like, we're not going to make it through this. Because we already knew coming in, it's a teamwork kind of activity experience. It's like a mission. You had to accomplish something to survive. And if you're a group with some strangers and you're like, oh, God, these people. So they took us into the first... It was in actually the same... what's that word?
Soundstage.
Soundstage. I couldn't remember. So the same soundstage with like American Horror Story back there. Mm-hmm. We went in there. The set was gorgeous. Mm-hmm. This very small room. And it had artifacts all along the room, of like from ceiling to floor, just artifacts with little tags, just really like archaic looking. And then the acting was genius. There was this a soldier standing at the door, and then there was an actor. He just went right in it.
It's like a scientist, researcher kind of guy.
And
he reminded me of the scientist that gets killed by the alien in Independence Day. That's what I was thinking of the whole time he was there. Is the one where the alien pushes him up against the window and makes him talk like a ventriloquist. Yeah. Yeah, he reminded me exactly of that guy.
He's got the glasses and the hair and the outfit. They will touch you. So I think that we were more... we had the game face. We were in it. We were willing to just immerse ourselves. We were touched. I actually was shoved out the way hard. Uh-huh. And then he was basically whispering to us about, what was going on. Yeah. We had to get the artifact, and we had to get this. I kind of was confused because you have no...
While he was doing that, too, real quick, he had his hands on both of my shoulders, and he's, up next to my ear, this close.
And then he remember he grabbed my ponytail, his hand, because I wanted to keep my hair down for the VR. I mean, for girls, definitely don't wear a bun, or don't keep your hair up because it won't fit the device. So I knew to keep my hair down. He grabbed my ponytail. I was like, what are you doing? Oh God, what is going on?
Yeah.
It was intense. I mean, I felt like I was back in basic training. I was that level of what is going on, but I was pumped. And then they come on, next room, let's go.
Well, and when that happened, actually, the soldier grabbed my arm and pulled me into the next room. I'm not a small guy, just so everybody knows.
It's a big guy.
And this soldier dude, they hired the right guy. He grabbed me by my arm and he just pulled me into the next room. I almost fell down. It was with that much force.
So basically, we'll continue with what happened, but basically there was a quote-unquote pre-show prior to having the virtual reality device put on your head, and then the pre-show, 10 minutes or so of actual virtual reality experience. So still going through the pre-show, you entered a different room where they tell you, don't go anywhere, stay here. So I'm like, I'm not moving anywhere. But then another guy comes in and he says, oh my God, we need the key. We can't continue, we need the key. And I'm already ready. I'm like, where's the key? And then he had a flashlight.
He's also a crazy person.
Yeah, he's crazy. He's
wearing a straitjacket that was ripped apart.
Yeah.
He had ripped himself out of a straitjacket. Okay,
and they get up on you. They breathe on you. They don't care. And
luckily he had some Tic Tacs somehow in the asylum because he had minty fresh bread because he was right in my face the whole time.
And then what did he whisper to you about me? She's gonna die.
Yeah. He's like, you're gonna watch her die.
I was like, oh god.
I'm like, okay.
So he's like, get the key, and then first thing I saw was a like a safe on the floor. I go, I gotta get the keys in there. But then he just points to the light on the wall with the flashlight. I'm guessing people were having issues finding the numbers.
Well, to be fair, there were numbers all over the walls.
Oh, there were?
He was gonna have to point it out at some point.
Yeah. He just immediately flashed. It was 2 numbers, like 39, whatever. So we opened it. It was a key. He's like, the key. And then some lady walks in, come with me. I'm like, no, they told me to stay here. I ain't going. But
No.
she was drill sergeant, like, you better come with me right
Well,
now.
first, he gave us cubes. He
Oh,
used
he
that key
gave
to
us
open up another chest
cubes.
that had these cubes, and those were like the sigil keys,
Ooh,
basically,
these cubes.
that you have to use to solve the final puzzle. But then, yeah, after, like you were saying, after that point, we got pulled again into another room.
Like a researcher, with like a lot of computers, and like, and then she wins the cake. Like, she takes the cake. The best actor of the whole entire place. She just starts yelling in our faces. That poor young kid was just like, what is going on?
Oh yeah, the kid kept like looking around the room and like, you know, trying to touch things, and she was like yelling at him like, "Don't you touch that! Look over here!" and like banging on the table, and yeah, he was like frozen by the end of it.
And there was a scare actor hiding under the table that grabbed our legs.
He was on the chair first. When we first walked in, there's this guy that looks like he's like dead, basically sitting in the chair. And then he like jumps to life, and then she grabs a like, it looks like an arc baton, basically.
and electrocuted him
Yeah, and like electrocutes
in front
him.
of us.
And it's like, and it was one of those really clicky, loud electrical things.
Yeah.
So it's a very effective thing. But she she zaps him down, and then he's under the desk, and then grabs Nina's ankle from under the desk as she's yelling at us. But
So she's basically at that point. The point of this part was to tell us what was our mission. Our mission is to find the keys, the symbols, the colors. She just kept repeating, "You need to get these for me. You're going to go into another world, and your mission is to get your, what is that word? Like an archaic symbol, something to help her."
Well, she kept talking about symbols. Like, you need to pay attention to these symbols. But then, like, right before we left the room, she looked at me and she's like, "It's about the colors." And it's something we had heard about before.
It's just so confusing.
But she only said it to me, like I was the last one out of the room, or she like pulled me up close and she's like, "It's just about the numbers." I mean, sorry, the colors. I'm thinking I lost. She's like, "It's about the colors," and then pushes us into the next room,
and that's where we get our virtual reality helmets.
Well, first, let's say we had to go into another room where a soldier yelled orders at us and told us what was going to happen in the next room. Mm-hmm. And to keep your hands down, don't touch the device that's being placed on your head, and all this. And
in case of emergency,
he tells us first to put our backs on the wall. And one of the guys, the dad we were with, was like kind of catty corner, like in the corner, and he's like, "I didn't give you 2 walls, I gave you 1 wall against the wall," and like right in his face. And that was when I saw him as scared as any person I've ever seen in my life.
Grown man, poop his pants.
He was like terrified, like pressed himself up against the wall, like staring straight ahead. But yeah, they give you the instructions in that room, and then you get rushed into another room.
You get separated, so 2 and 2.
Yeah, and these rooms just had 2 big circles, like one big circle on the ground in each room, essentially. And you go there, and they tell you to stand back to back, and then they put the headsets on you.
What made me so frightened, because I've done virtual reality before, is I get very disoriented and I get very frightened. Because if you touch me while I have the virtual reality and I can't see you, it freaks you out. So I was afraid that we were going to get manhandled with the VR on, and we really didn't.
No, we got a feather duster to the face. It was very obvious what it was when it happened.
I think
they birds like fly by you really fast in there, and it was
feathers.
like a feather duster on your face.
And I think overall, how long were we there? 10 minutes?
Like in the VR?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was really weird. The audio was kind of low to me.
I could hear the actors around us, talking and moving.
I couldn't hear what the voice on the thing was saying very clearly. All I knew was that we had to look for some colors, so I made sure that you had these little flashlight kind of devices that you could swing around and you could actually point at things and they would change. Mm-hmm. So I was using those, and you were able to see the lights.
First you were in a library, and then you were in a cemetery.
The library kind of breaks apart, and you're in this cemetery, but the ground's falling apart around you and you're finally left on this like tiny platform essentially.
But poor Darren, I wouldn't let go of his hand because I was so scared.
Yeah, I wanted to like explore and look around, and she's like, "No, stand right here in the center with me the whole time."
I was scared.
So yeah, we the VR I think was really, like the most underwhelming part of the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, by far. Like the thing that made it was the actors, in my opinion.
And then, boom, they take it off, and then you're entered into this last small, very, very small room, and...
Which reminded me of Legends of the Hidden Temple quite a bit.
And you have to basically... There's these 4 little empty... Where you would have to put those cubes that you had before, you have to find them, and we immediately found them. They're very obvious. They're just sitting on shelves and under tables in the room. You grab them. You have to remember your colors. Right. And I remembered in our room, there was a lot of like orange and purple or whatever. And then the other guys remembered red and green, for example. And you basically just had the right order. But it took a minute. It would have this little stripe of light slowly move up the wall. And it'd show if it was correct. Ding! It would be good. And then if not, it would like turn red or whatever.
Mm-hmm. You had 2 minutes in this room and that was it.
2 minutes. And we got it. Our side, we got it right the first time. Theirs, we had to move around a little bit. But we got it. No, it was like
within
8.
a minute.
No, it was like 4 and 4. Yeah, it was like 4.
No, it was 4 total.
I don't know.
It was
Point
definitely
is,
4.
Very confusing. What everyone was saying with
it
the
was
colors.
not that confusing at all. It was very easy, actually. It was super easy. It was
No, I
way
mean like
too easy.
the mission of it all.
You mean like the story?
The story.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's true. But the actual puzzle was
Easy.
super simple.
I mean, you could have been guessed by luck.
Yeah. And then
you left, and then you got to watch a screen of everyone else doing it.
It's so abrupt how it ends. Is you just walk out, and they just have this like little staging area where, of course, you can buy a drink or whatever. And yeah, like they have a TV where you can watch the next group go through that last room and the puzzle.
I really wish that scientist would have come back and said, "Thank you, you saved the world," or
something. Like there was no ending to it. It was just like, all right, out you go.
Bye.
And they had another crazy guy outside who was awesome, by the way. Big props to whoever that guy was. He was like another guy like that looked like he had broken out of a straitjacket, and so he had like the long arms on the jacket, and he was just like Spider-Man, flying around like that. We actually have about 20 pictures with him because we're sitting there all trying to do the Spider-Man thing, and have it show up on the film. So. That was kind of fun with that guy at the very end. But other than that, like the actual employees that were back there were kind of like awkward. Like when you came out, they didn't say anything. They're just like, "Oh, you can have a drink or whatever."
Congrats.
Yeah, and
overall, do you think it was worth $50+?
No, unfortunately, no. Yeah, I'll tell you the honest truth is if that
the honest truth.
Yeah. What?
What is the name of this whole...
The repository?
No, I mean, it's part of the truth. Legendary
truth. Okay.
Okay.
The honest truth for me is that if they would have replaced the VR with more actors, then it would have been worth the $50 to me.
Yep.
If that 10-minute experience was just more of the acting, like another scene with another actor, I would have been all about it.
Or like a real like scavenger hunt kind of.
You don't think it could have been improved with better VR?
Oh, possibly. I mean, that's
or like
potential.
An augmented reality instead.
Yeah,
but
augmented reality maybe.
I guess if you have augmented reality though, you need a bigger. Because from what I've heard, is it's done in a very small space. Mm-hmm. So if they had an augmented reality, it would have to be a bigger space because obviously you can see everything you're doing. Yeah,
but the thing is that VR area took up 3 rooms. It took up the 2 rooms for the VR. Like I said, we were split off 2 and 2. And then, like, the center room there where we were talking about that they could have utilized with more actors in different environments.
And when I thought we'd be able to see each other, see actors. When I would look at him, he would just be a floating mask.
Well, that's how I knew obviously, you were there. What did you think? They were going to scan your face?
No, I thought I'd be able to see, like a cutout or, like, of other actors and stuff.
Well, they didn't have any other actors.
That's what
the
we're
thing
saying.
Is,
yeah.
Like, from what I had heard of the thing, there was like actually supposed to be scare actors interacting with you because I know that technology allows an actor to wear a beacon and appear in the virtual reality with you.
As anything, exactly. Yeah, I would love.
So that's what I was so excited about, but they didn't do it at all.
But there was that ghost popping up, unless
but
that
wasn't,
was it.
No, it definitely wasn't because that was just random, and there was like 100 of them in there by the end, and they weren't doing anything, they weren't moving, they were just standing still.
I liked it. but not worth $50.
I liked it. The actors were incredible.
Yay.
Like, they were so good. But the actual VR experience and the story behind it was a little too disjointed for us, I would say. So this year, I mean, I wouldn't recommend it, but I've heard a lot of other people say they loved it. I don't know if it's that whole, like, I paid $50, so I got to justify that kind of thing, that people have in their heads. I
don't know.
But honestly,
from what I've heard from multiple people, they weren't impressed with it. Maybe they said maybe if it was like $25, maybe it would be be better. But just the price point isn't right for what you get. Yeah.
I agree, and like I said, more interaction. I hope next time they do consider not doing the VR at all and just making it a full live experience, or like you said, something with augmented reality or a screen that you can use. So, but and just real quick, I guess, Travis, you've been a few more times to Horror Nights. Is there anything like new or notable that you've seen? Or?
I mean, it just seems like overall there's more, to me at least, it seems like there's more scare actors in different areas, different boo holes. Did you guys go through Tomb of the Ancients when you went?
Mm-hmm.
Was the left side blocked off when you guys went through?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously, that's that, and then the moving floor is gone. And I've heard that people said that the triggers got taken away, but I actually found them again and were able to make them work like last time I was there on Wednesday. So
yeah, I think people say that because it takes a while for the air compressor to recharge.
Yeah.
So if you try it after somebody has done it maybe like 20 or 30 seconds ahead of you, it's not going to work. So.
But the thing I was going to say about the left side, they opened it back up.
Oh yeah.
So so you can go left or right now. I don't know why they took it out. I guess I think I heard Mike say something about people were kind of getting confused on where to go, which I really don't understand because it's just a big circle. Well, it's not even that big. It's just a circle.
It's a small circle, yeah.
But I guess maybe it was impeding traffic, so they opened it back up. I don't know. I thought that was originally why they closed it, because it was kind of impeding traffic. But I don't know. They opened it back up. At least on Wednesday when I went, it was back open. But
well, and it does a weird thing when you split up the crowd like that and put them back together. It's just like the highways. People don't want to let people merge back in.
Yeah.
So I think it becomes a little bit of a, what the heck? Like, where are these people coming from? And you saw that in Circus of Superstition, actually, real quick, to throw it back to Howl-O-Scream, is they had 2 spinning tunnels, and you could go to the left or the right. But at the end, like, you had to go back into the same, like, a single file line again. So, like, people were getting, like, it wasn't too busy when we went through, but I'd imagine when it's busy and both of those lines are full, people get stuck in there, and you're stuck in the spinning tunnel.
Yeah, and you've also got where, if you go through like with a group of, say 6 or 8 people, if everybody's not going to go the same way usually.
Yeah.
And then you've got, groups being broken up because, somebody's going to move slower or quicker on one side. So
yeah, which wouldn't be a terrible thing, but if people aren't expecting it, they're going to like stop and look for the people that they were with, which will slow down the whole thing. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so,
I don't know.
Yeah, other than that, like I said, just I've noticed a couple little things, just more scare actors, and, they're getting their stride and stuff like that. But other than that, any big differences? No, I haven't really noticed. I noticed a lot more bigger differences last year than I did this year. So
Okay.
Gotcha. And yeah, for the most part, I'm going to say that I've seen almost every night. The crowds have been pretty crazy.
Oh, there is one more thing in Texas Chainsaw. I don't know if you guys saw that. The 3 windows off to your left-hand side, like when their father's popping out at you, saying, "Look what your brother did," or whatever. There's on those. There's actually like metal behind those windows, and I'm not sure how they do it because I'm sure it's not an actual chainsaw running in there, but it actually looks like they're sparking the chainsaw on the windows.
Oh, cool!
Nice.
So that was a cooler effect I noticed that they added in Texas Chainsaw.
Nice.
Is the music still the same? Like environment music, like all throughout the park with chants?
Yeah,
Everything's
it's
same?
still that annoying Bart Simpson laugh.
Yeah. Well, the first weekend when we went, they had like some like classic rock and stuff playing, and they took that out after the first weekend, and they were playing more of like a score, but still with chances laughing on it.
Yeah.
So that changed after the first weekend. From what I heard, and then when we went back the second time, we didn't really see too many like extreme differences when we were walking through. So.
Academy of Villains is still amazing.
Oh, they finally added projectors in the lines now, with 2 weeks left to go.
Oh,
remember how they had the big projections on the buildings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last year.
Years.
Yeah, they just added them like last week.
Well, let's say that too really quick. Maybe not 2 weeks left to go. Maybe 3 weeks.
Well,
sounds like they may
2 weeks and 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, which will be the next weekend, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But yeah.
Halloween, Thanksgiving night.
Possible. We've heard some rumors, and actually, I think as of late, I think maybe Orlando Informer or something get confirmation that they had employees scheduled for the next weekend.
Wow.
November 4th and 5th. So.
To make up for the hurricane?
To make up for the hurricane thing.
Right.
And not just from what I heard, is not just for the people that have the passes, especially that Ultimate Fear one that was every night, but also for some employees to get an extra couple of nights of pay. So that was kind of cool of them. Even though, from what I heard, they all got paid for
the hurricane.
The hurricane was out as well.
That was nice of them.
Yeah, a lot nicer than some other theme parks we won't talk about.
I'm wondering how they're going to do it with something like My Pass. I mean, I don't wonder if I'm just going to be blocked out because I don't get Fridays or Saturdays. So
yeah,
I'm hoping maybe they let me in on maybe the Friday. Maybe that would be nice.
Of them, yeah,
yeah,
to make up for it. Yeah, I don't know. It's it'll be a very interesting thing, and they haven't announced anything yet. And I think that's kind of weird with this short of a time before that. So maybe they're just waiting until they have all the employees, making sure they have enough employees to run it, because that takes a lot of people to run Horror Nights for a night.
Yeah, I think they can go a little bit lean on it, because I think that those 2 nights are probably going to be pretty light.
Hopefully.
So, I would think that they would be, but like you never know with Horror Nights, to be honest with you, because it's been pretty jam-packed the past, pretty much from the start, but especially these last 2 weeks have been pretty damn crazy, so we'll see.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode. Of course, be sure to follow us on Twitter at Deadman's Digest, at UUOP Darren, at Travis Terrell 12, and at NThompson91, who I've seen pop up on there like maybe once or twice and post something, or like something or something like that. Yeah. You can also join us on Instagram. Deadman's Digest has its own. Travis has one. Is pretty popular these days. Having Academy of Villains following him and everything.
VIP.
Yeah.
Right? Thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
It was awesome, man. And, of course, join the Facebook group. You can post some pictures, any pictures you've taken at the event, ask questions if you're still going. Really anything. The group's there for people just to interact and have a good time.
A lot of people have been putting pictures from the meeting, the dinner. With the pictures with Chance and little videos. Pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. One of our listeners, Chris Azell, has a great prom picture with him because that guy cannot go anywhere without dressing to the nines. So he was dressed up really nice, and Chance was like, all right, you're my prom date now.
It was awesome.
So they have a picture that looks just like a prom picture. He's got his arms around her like from the back.
It was so
just
cute.
Like that awkward smile they're both doing. It's awesome. So, yeah, I think he wins photo of the year so far with that.
And Brittany went.
Oh, yeah.
She went.
Yeah, so the character dining seems like it's a really good thing, and Chris was saying the acting is pretty great with the Chance and everybody this year. So
I know in our group, there's a lot of pictures and videos. Check them out.
Yeah, so join us. That's of course Dead Man's Digest as well. It's a private group, but just join up and I'll add you immediately. Yay. So that's going to do it for episode 9, and this is going to sadly be the episode before the last one of the season.
Yeah,
we're going to do one more at the end, I think, just to recap everything and hopefully get a guest or two on to talk about it with us as well.
Getting sad.
So until then, sleep well.